Before we begin, a note about the voice you're hearing. This narration is generated using text-to-speech, allowing me to share my thoughts clearly even when my natural voice can't handle long recording sessions. It's still my knowledge and experience. Every decision, every test, every lesson learned in building countless towns. The goal is to teach the logic behind Ostriv, not just the steps. In this build, I will show you how to start and maintain the city without taking a loan. So consider this voice a tool, a way to make the education consistent, clear, and accessible for everyone. Map selection determines your long-term success. Map 3 offers unlimited stone, limestone, and/or deposits, giving you a strong foundation for future industrial growth. Choosing the right map means you'll never run short of key resources like iron, ore, or lime, both essential for advanced production later. For you, it may be another map, but for me and the plan, I will use map 3. When you first arrive, pause the game immediately. Time is your most valuable resource. Find a location roughly midway between the river and the lake. This gives you quick access to water for reeds and nearby trees for construction. The camp is more than a starting point. It's the logistical center of your entire settlement. The forestry is the foundation of survival. Every plank, cart, and roof in this town begins here, among these trees. Place it near the tree line, not deep within the forest. The first forestry can't be placed directly among trees, but future ones can. Once complete, hire 2 men immediately. It takes both to maintain steady output. Both cutting trees will keep builders busy. If one quits, or if they fall into the opposite rest cycle, production stops completely. You'll notice this sooner or later. One rests while the other waits, and the saws fall silent until they're back together. Unfortunately, by the time the first returns, the second one rests, and nothing gets done. You may be forced to hire a third, or even a fourth one to get work done. It's not a bug, it's just Ostriv's timing. Without logs, builders stop, the smith runs out of charcoal, and progress halts. Forestry sets the rhythm that keeps your town alive. The clay pit is a quick build, but an important one. It provides clay for houses and other buildings. Place it close to camp so builders waste no time hauling materials across the map. No workers are needed here. It simply lays the groundwork for future production. Housing is the first real test of your settlement's timing. Each completed house automatically moves one family out of tent. Your goal is to have all 9 houses ready before winter. If even one family remains in a tent when the frost arrives, they'll leave. Keep the homes close to camp. Every step of builder walks costs time and energy, so shorter routes mean faster progress. Place all 9 early to give the builders a continuous queue of work. That prevents idle time and ensures smooth progress through the first year. The camp begins with enough thatch to roof all the houses, with a small amount left over. After that, the thatchery becomes essential. It's your first true production building, converting reeds into thatch for homes and workshops. Place it near visible reeds. Proximity matters more here than anywhere else. Once complete, hire 2 women to run it. In Ostriv, some jobs are gender-specific, and the thatchery is one of them. Assigning women here frees the men to continue heavy labor. A single worker can't keep up with roofing demand, so staff both positions immediately. From this point on, the thatchery quietly supports the entire town. Every roof depends on it. The smithy is the heart of progress. It turns raw materials into nails, metal parts, and eventually horseshoes and tack. Place it beside the forestry so it's close to its fuel source, wood for charcoal. Use laborers to ensure materials are delivered automatically, keeping the smith focused on production. Once built, dismiss one builder and hire a smith. Keep him working on nails and metal parts. These are critical for the cartwright in every new building. If he runs out of supplies, progress across the entire town slows down. The smithy marks the point where survival begins turning into development. The cartwright is the workshop that keeps the town moving. Every plank, stone, and bag of clay depends on carts, and carts wear out. Place it near the smithy so the craftsman can quickly repair carts using nearby metal parts. Once the building is complete, check used laborers before hiring your cartwright. That ensures materials are already stocked. If a cart breaks before the shop is built, hauling stops completely. This building is your insurance against downtime. Every town begins with one essential building, the forestry. Right now, there's nothing here. No laborers, no economy, just open land. So the first thing we build is the forestry. Without logs, nothing else can exist. When it's done, hire 2 workers to start cutting wood. They'll supply every project that follows. Open the government tent next. It lets you view your treasury, but you can't make changes yet. That requires a full government building later. Finally, add 1 more builder to speed up progress. You'll need that extra help to finish 9 homes before winter. With forestry running, the tent active, and 6 builders on the job, your foundation is ready. The town can begin to grow. Charcoal production is where your first exports and real industry begin. Place 4 pits near the forestry, so the hauling distance for logs stays short, but leave some space between them for worker movement. Laborers will operate these pits, loading wood and managing burns. Charcoal fuels your smithy and later becomes your first export product, forming the backbone of your economy. Now, a word about laborers, the quiet backbone of every productive town. They aren't builders and cannot assist in construction. That requires wagons or cart sheds, which come later. But they do keep the economy flowing. Hauling wood to storage, charcoal to the smith, or materials to workshops. They are by default set to handle charcoal and farming, but can be used on any building. Laborers are the connective tissue of your town, the unseen hands that keep every building supplied. Without them, production crawls. With them, the entire system hums like a well-tuned machine. For every building in the game, I use laborers. The government building is the administrative center of your town. Place it near the heart of your settlement for easy access to management. Once complete, open the menu and set your wages to $1, rent 20 cents, and taxes to 10% for housing and 15% for all the others. Reduce by back to 60% a balanced setup. Fair wages, moderate rent, and modest taxes keeps citizens content and ensures a steady economy. It's April 1721, 1 month in, and the real challenge isn't building houses, it's building a budget. Before this update, loans were free money, no payback, no risk. Now every loan comes with interest, and if you miss the payday, that interest is taken out of the next one. Borrow 20,000, owe 3,000, you only get 17. Borrow again, and it's 14. Keep going, and you'll bury your town in debt. That's why I placed the government office early to plan ahead. Wages, rent, and taxes start here, and this is where survival becomes strategy. The farm secures your independence. It must be built before the end of year 2, so planting can begin on time the following spring. Place it on flat, open land near town with room for future fields. Once construction begins, hire a female manager as soon as possible. When she arrives, pause the game and lay out your field rotation. For a balanced setup, use a 3-field rotation: hemp, potatoes, and fallow. With 3 fields, you can rotate the crops. Potatoes dash, hemp dash fallow for field 1, hemp fallow potatoes for field 2, and fallow dash potatoes dash hemp for field 3. This keeps the soil healthy while providing both food and textile material for your town. The farm marks the transition from survival to sustainability. Later, we will build another farm for sunflowers and buckwheat, but due to the lack of labor and workers, it needs to wait. The granary and markets form the supply loop that feeds your town. Build the granary near housing so food transfers stay efficient. Add 4 market stalls close by, ensuring short routes for sellers and buyers. Assign women as market workers and a single worker for the granary. They'll handle food distribution, keeping your citizens fed and the economy turning. Now we build the thatchery, built along the water where reeds grow thick. The camp starts with enough thatch to build your first homes, but that supply runs out fast. Without this building, construction stops cold. Hire 2 women here as soon as it's finished. They'll gather and store reeds year-round. Every roof, every wall needs thatch, so keep production steady. It's the quiet backbone of the town, simple but essential for survival. Once the smithy building is complete, the first real economy begins. Hire 1 man here and check, use laborers so the forge never runs dry. His first job is nails and metal parts, the foundation of every nail and metal part for carts in town. When he's working, dismiss 1 builder, so he'll be hired as smith. If he stops, production stalls, and without metal parts the cartwright can't even start repairs. The smith is the heartbeat of industry. Keep him busy or everything that depends on him will stop. When I first started playing Ostriv, I didn't understand the power of labor. I used the default settings, just a few laborers hauling charcoal and working the farm, and thought that was enough. But things moved slow, too slow. The carts broke before winter, builders stood waiting for materials, and production just crawled. In a later build, I tried something different. I hired more laborers. And man, what a change that made. Suddenly, the town came alive. Materials flowed, carts stayed repaired, and the smith always had what he needed. That's when I realized something. Laborers are the lifeblood of Ostriv. They can't help with construction or forestry. That's the builder's work. But everywhere else, they keep the town breathing. They move goods through warehouses, trading posts, smelters, kilns, and even salt mines. If a workshop runs dry, they restock it. If production slows, they're the ones bringing the missing pieces. Workers stay tied to 1 job. A smith works the forge, a cartwright repairs carts, but laborers go wherever the need is greatest. That flexibility keeps the economy balanced. It keeps materials moving so no one stands idle. So now, I hire 1 dedicated worker when I must, but I always keep a strong labor force. Because when they're active, everything runs smoother. Carts stay rolling, fires stay burning, and time never goes to waste. In Ostriv, laborers don't just move materials, they move the entire rhythm of the town. Once your labor force is running smoothly, it's time to start thinking ahead. And that means the cartwright. The cartwright is essential for keeping your transport network alive. Every warehouse, farm, and trading post depends on working carts, so you'll want this building ready before your carts start breaking down. But don't rush to hire right away. The cartwright needs metal parts from the smithy, and early on those parts are limited. Let the smith produce around 6 metal parts first before bringing anyone on. There's another reason for waiting. At this stage, we're releasing one of our builders. With construction projects underway, that extra worker can be reassigned later when the cartwright is actually ready to operate. Once the smith has produced enough parts and the timing feels right, hire 1 cartwright to start. It doesn't take much labor to keep carts repaired, and you can always add a second worker later once your trade routes and farms expand. As long as you keep metal parts in steady supply, your transport will stay reliable. And that reliability is what keeps your whole economy moving forward. Make sure to check the box. Preform preventative repairs so your carts stay working before the breakdown. We're now constructing the government building, one of the most important structures to have early. Once it's finished, the mayor moves in and the old government tent is removed. From this point on, you can fully manage your town's economy. That means editing the treasury, adjusting wages, and fine-tuning taxes to keep your citizens happy while still building profit for the settlement. I like to start simple. I set both worker and labor wages to $1 per month. That's fair pay for early production and still leaves enough margin for exports to keep the treasury growing. Residents get full value when selling to the market, but I lower the market buyback rate to 60% of the selling price. This keeps the local economy balanced. The town still earns from trade, but goods remain affordable for citizens. Because that reduction cuts into their income a bit, I offset it with lower living costs. Rent is reduced to 20 cents per month, and a land tax is dropped to 10%. For everything else that's taxable, like production or trade, I keep it around 15%. These adjustments may seem small, but together they make a huge difference. Workers can still afford essentials, the treasury stays positive, and your town continues to build wealth over time. The key is balance. Enough income to expand without pushing your citizens into debt. With this system in place, the economy becomes stable, sustainable, and ready for growth. The trading post connects your settlement to the outside world. It's the last major structure of Year 2, coming after the farm. Place it on open ground with good cart access. Once complete, assign a manager and 1 or 2 workers to handle orders. Start by exporting charcoal. It's your most efficient early trade good. Keep about 1,500 coins in reserve for messenger fees and small imports like leather, hemp, or warm clothes. Trade ensures your town stays supplied and opens the door to long-term prosperity. With the economy now running, the next focus is food and trade, and that starts with the granary and market stalls. The granary is your main food storage. Build it near the center of town so workers don't waste time hauling goods. Once it's complete, hire 1 worker. That's enough early on to manage deliveries, and make sure to check labor by hand or cart. This lets them move supplies efficiently from wherever goods are stored. The granary doesn't produce food itself, but it stores everything your citizens consume: fish, flour, potatoes, sunflower oil, and more. Next, we set up the market stalls. I start with 2. Each stall can sell up to 4 products, so plan them with a purpose. For the first stall, I focus on essentials: shoes, warm clothes, and firewood. These keep your citizens comfortable through all seasons. The second stall handles food, usually a mix of items available early on. Later in the game, as production expands, I open the remaining 2 stalls and begin selling non-perishable goods like buckwheat, salt, sunflower oil, hemp oil, and dried fish. These last longer and stabilize your food supply year-round. Your citizens need at least 3 different food sources to stay satisfied. If they run out for too long, families will eventually leave town. Once the market opens, new families will begin migrating, but only if you're prepared. You must have housing, wells for drinking water, and jobs available. Without these essentials, no one will move in. Keep your food varied, your essentials covered, and your homes ready, and you'll see your population start to grow, a sure sign your town is thriving. We've made a lot of progress in this first stage of the series. We started with the forestry, the first and most important building, giving us the steady supply of logs needed to begin construction. From there, we added the clay pit, securing the raw material for future homes and industry. Next came housing. We built enough homes to support migration, making sure each family had access to water. It's critical to get all 9 families into homes before winter. Any family left in the starting tents will leave once the cold sets in. So housing is a top priority in these early months. After housing, we built the thatchery. Thatch is required for every new home, so it's essential to have one running early. I recommend keeping 2 workers there year-round to maintain a steady supply. With materials secured, we moved on to the smithy, the heart of production. This is where we started crafting metal parts and nails, which allowed us to move forward with the cartwright. The cartwright keeps the entire transport system alive by repairing and replacing carts, ensuring the town supply chain stays strong. We then moved into administration, constructing the government building and setting up the town's first economy. Wages were set at $1 per month, with fair rent and taxes to keep citizens happy while still building wealth for the treasury. Once the economy was stable, we turned to food and distribution. We built the granary and opened 2 market stalls, one for essentials like shoes, clothes, and firewood, and another for food. Later in the game, more stalls will open for non-perishables such as salt, sunflower oil, and dried fish. Along the way, we briefly touched on the trading post, the next major step in expanding your town's economy and trade routes. We'll be covering that in detail in the next video. With forestry, housing, thatchery, administration, and food systems all working together, you now have a complete foundation. A town ready to grow into a thriving settlement. That wraps up this part of the series. We've taken our first steps from open land to a functioning town, complete with housing, production, and the beginnings of an economy. If you enjoyed the video or learned something new, give it a like. It really helps the channel grow and tells us you want to see more. And don't forget to subscribe to Nova and Dave's Media Works so you can follow along as we keep building, trading, and expanding in the next episode. Thanks for watching, and from both of us here at Nova and Dave's Media Works, we'll see you next time as we continue building this thriving town, one season at a time.